This video is sponsored by Surfshark. On February 10th, Gina Carano was, in a very public manner, fired from the hit Star Wars show The Mandalorian, and, in an even more public manner, gaslit and cancelled by Lucasfilm, reportedly on the direct orders of Kathleen Kennedy herself. She and her peers at Lucasfilm might have thought that Carano would bow her head in shame and go quietly into the night. But this is not what happened. She came back swinging less than 24 hours later, announcing that she would be teaming up with Ben Shapiro and the newly minted film production wing of his publication, The Daily Wire. I think this has the potential to disrupt the industry. In this editorial, I will elaborate on why I think so, by first, ever so briefly, recapping the nature of Gina's cancellation. Then going through what the Daily Wire is all about, what to expect from their film production wing, and finally, how they could disrupt Hollywood. Before any of that though, let me briefly address the backfire on Disney, Lucasfilm, and Kathleen Kennedy. Whenever someone is cancelled, there is some level of backfire on the ones doing the cancelling, but more often than not, it's fairly moderate and blows over by the next news cycle. Not this time though. The comment section of the Oscar YouTube channel is now devoted exclusively to trashing Kathleen Kennedy, and we have been told from our sources, so usual take it with a grain of salt warning supply, that Disney phone lines are burning hot with complaints, that their email servers are buckling under the pressure from all the hate mail, and that they've even received used kitty litter, diapers, and other nasty stuff like that by post. Which naturally we do not condone. We're all for sending messages, but do it with your wallets, everyone. To be clear, lots of people do that too. #CancelDisney+ has been trending for a while now, and we've heard unconfirmed reports that thousands, or even tens of thousands of Disney+ subscriptions indeed have been cancelled. With many vowing to take to the high seas in order for the Marvel content they want, like WandaVision, or the upcoming The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Loki, and more. Again, this is not something that either Midnight's Edge, our sponsors, or other affiliates condones. Not only is piracy wrong, you'd be exposing yourself to endless spyware, tracking software, and other malware out there on the high seas, and that's on top of all the data that is stolen from you during all of your regular browsing. Well, modern problems require modern solutions, and many of them can be found in a VPN, such as the one delivered by this channel's sponsor, Surfshark. A VPN, or Virtual Private Network, is a privacy protection tool which guarantees instant online safety and encrypts all data sent via the internet. On top of that, Surfshark allows you to bypass geo-blocking restrictions by changing the country you access the internet from, which also gives you access to 15 different Netflix libraries by simply changing your virtual location. One of the advantages with Surfshark over many other VPN providers is that it allows one account to be used on unlimited devices. That's part of the reason why Surfshark is the VPN of our choice, and it gets even better. If you type in the code MIDNIGHT when ordering, that triggers an exclusive offer in which you now get 83% off the normal list price, plus 3 extra months for free. Surfshark also offers a 30-day money-back guarantee, so there's no risk in trying it out. Do check out the link in the description below for further details and to order. With that, let's dive into the Gina Carano and Daily Wire situation. We have already covered the events that led up to Gina Carano being cancelled by Disney at length. So for that, I refer you to our earlier coverage. I would, however, call attention to the official statement Lucasfilm put out in cancelling Gina Carano. Gina Carano is not currently employed by Lucasfilm, and there are no plans for her to be in the future. That first part right there is fine, that's simply a description of reality. But then there is this. Nevertheless, her social media posts denigrating people based on their cultural and religious identities are abhorrent and unacceptable. This is pure gaslighting, because Gina Carano never did anything of the sort. This is an outright lie, and everyone who has paid attention to the situation, everyone in the industry knows it. But that is the official Lucasfilm statement, and it has been repeated all over the world. The people that follow the situation know that it is a lie, but once you leave the industry and our little corner of the internet following it, people don't know that anymore. All they see is the official statement that says that Gina Carano is a bigot. So why would anyone question it? Then that becomes the narrative, taken for granted worldwide. And that way, Gina Carano was made toxic, because she was declared to be. In the immediate aftermath of her very public firing and career execution, I heard from several people I know within the industry that now Gina Carano was done for. She couldn't get another job. No one would hire her, lest they too be painted with the same brush as her. That's why no one else associated with The Mandalorian have thus far spoken out in her defense. They know that if they do, they're next. Gina Carano went against the overarching Hollywood narrative, and for that an example was made out of her. Because no one can be seen to go against the narrative and get away with it.
There was that ant that stood up to me.
Yeah, but we can forget about him.
Yeah, it was just one ant.
Yeah, you're right. It's just one ant.
Yeah, boss, they're puny.
Let's be clear about this. It doesn't matter that fans love her. It doesn't matter that she shot to the top of the IMDb star meter. It doesn't matter that she gained hundreds of thousands of followers on Twitter and Instagram in a matter of days. For the high crime of going against the narrative, no one established within Hollywood could hire her, lest they too be evicted from the good company. And so, someone already outside of that good company leapt to the opportunity. Like we always say here at Midnight's Edge, we are an apolitical channel. The only time we ever bring the topic up is when we have to, because the entertainment we cover has been turned into a political battleground. This would be one of those times. The Daily Wire is a conservative media company founded in 2015 by political pundit Ben Shapiro and director Jeremy Boring. Since its formation, the Daily Wire has gone from strength to strength, and become the leading conservative podcast in the US, which I guess would make it the leading conservative podcast in the world. In January of 2021, Ben Shapiro announced that the Daily Wire was beginning a TV and movie wing that would not promote, quote, leftist causes. They started this venture by picking up the domestic distribution rights to Run, Hide, Fight from director Kyle Rankin and producer Dallas Sonnier. To be clear though, the Daily Wire did not make this movie themselves. It was already made and looking for distribution when the Daily Wire picked up the US distribution rights to stream it on their platform. Outside of the US, their name isn't attached to it in any way. The first movie the Daily Wire will make from the ground up themselves will be the Gina Carano vehicle, which was announced on February 12th. In that announcement, Gina Carano told Deadline Hollywood, "The Daily Wire is helping make one of my dreams, to develop and produce my own film, come true. I cried out and my prayer was answered. I am sending out a direct message of hope to everyone living in fear of cancellation by the totalitarian mob. I have only just begun using my voice, which is now freer than ever before, and I hope it inspires others to do the same. They can't cancel us if we don't let them." Ben Shapiro stated, "We could not be more excited to be working with Gina Carano, an incredible talent dumped by Disney and Lucasfilm for offending the authoritarian Hollywood left. This is what the Daily Wire exists to do, provide an alternative not just for consumers, but for creators who refuse to bow to the mob." In being a hardcore Star Wars fan who frequently covers Star Wars himself, Shapiro continued, "We're eager to bring Gina's talents to Americans who love her, and we're just as eager to show Hollywood that if they want to keep canceling those who think differently, they'll just be helping us build the X-Wing to take down their Death Star. The publication Deadline Hollywood concluded their article covering the news by stating, "The new alliance with Carano raises the prospect of the Daily Wire's film operation becoming a home for those going against the Hollywood grain in controversial ways." Not that Disney will be too worried about that, however.
Let's pretend this grain is a puny little ant. Did that hurt?
Nope.
Let's see if they have a reason to worry. At first glance from that Deadline Hollywood article, one can be left with the impression that Gina Carano will be heading up the Daily Wire's movie division herself, but this is not the case. Also buried in that article is this. Details are being kept under wraps, but it will be produced as part of Daily Wire's partnership with Bone Tomahawk producer Dallas Sonnier and his Bonfire Legend banner. In other words, the one who will really be running the show is producer Dallas Sonnier. He is an experienced producer that has made a number of movies before, the most famous of which is Bone Tomahawk. That movie is indicative of what to expect from him, and therefore the Gina Carano movie, so do check that out. Sonnier also produced Run, Hide, Fight, and it was in picking up distribution rights for that his partnership with the Daily Wire begun. When that partnership was announced back on January 4th, it was stated that Daily Wire was developing one movie and 2 TV series, though it is unknown whether or not that movie has now become the Gina Carano project, or if they now are developing 2 movies. In either event, Dallas Sonnier knows how to make a movie and which roles need to be filled. So this isn't Ben Shapiro suddenly trying to direct a movie scripted by Gina Carano and hoping that'll work out. No, you can expect the movies that come out of the Daily Wire to be every bit as polished products as anything from Lionsgate, or Blumhouse, or A24. I think all of those are good comparisons for what the Daily Wire will be doing, which is slick movies made on a budget with some very real stories, and probably a subtext with a more conservative bent. Beyond that, I don't think you'll be able to distinguish a Daily Wire movie from, say, a Lionsgate movie. I also don't think their movies will be overtly political, not in the way that high-profile Disney movies are. But they will be from the Daily Wire, so I fully expect the critics to absolutely hammer them, regardless of their individual merit, while the audience is more mixed to positive. In short, as a film production company, the Daily Wire will most likely be another Lilliput like A24. They'll be there, they'll stand out, but their movies won't be blockbusters, and they won't pose a threat to Disney. Hence, the snide remark Deadline Hollywood saw fit to throw in there about Disney not being worried. Even so, I do maintain that this could disrupt the industry. A lot will ride on the eventual Carano movie being a success, relative to its own metrics. If it isn't, there will be no watershed and there will be no disruption. Let's be clear about that. But based on what both Gina Carano and Ben Shapiro said in their February 21st interview, from what I've heard from a number of people I know myself in the industry, Hollywood is ruled by fear. It's an awesome place for the true believers of the ideology that is being pushed hardcore. But to anyone who isn't, it's anything but. Anyone who is left-leaning but who opposes cancel culture, let alone anyone who holds any kind of conservative leanings, must censor themselves at all times and pretend to be someone they are not, and believe something they do not, lest they be cancelled next. Many want to break out and speak up, but they can't, because individually they are just one. Speak out and you'll be cancelled and banned across the board, even from working with the minor production companies. The only escape are production companies that are so minor that they aren't even viable alternatives for working professionals. More than another mini studio like A24, this is what the Daily Wire can be, a genuine safe space where creatives can express themselves and make the movies they want, without them forcefully being made propaganda for the woke cause. I don't think the Daily Wire will have a hard time attracting below-the-line technical staff to work on their movies, but they could have challenges in attracting named celebrities, although they already have one in Gina Carano. But if that movie is successful, if the Daily Wire can announce that the Carano project was a big win for them and that they'll be doing many others, I think that will have a huge impact. In that event, more talent could decide that, you know what, I'm gonna participate in that Daily Wire production. Yeah, I might get blacklisted in the industry at large, but I'll be able to pay my bills by continuing working for them. I might get less, but at least I'd be true to myself.
How about this?
If that were to happen, Hollywood cancel culture would in a sense be broken, because while the talent might be out of the good party, they could still pay their bills and be in that other party. And if the Daily Wire's movies were to be financially successful, well then maybe more studios would follow suit, because the Daily Wire would have shown that you can deviate from the narrative and still be successful.
Our power comes from the perception of our power. Do you understand the damage this has done? Do you understand what's at stake?
Of course, that is if the Gina Carano movie is successful. If it isn't, then who knows. But this is a time of reconfiguring, and that happens just as much within Hollywood as anywhere else. The Daily Wire is in an excellent position to enter and instantly adapt to current trends of the film production market. It will be very exciting to see what they will be able to do. Let me know your thoughts on all of this in the comments. And before you go, remember that to help bypass quarrelsome geo-blocking restrictions, you should get Surfshark VPN. Use our code MIDNIGHT to get 83% off, plus 3 extra months for free. Link is in the description.